couple days ago, I asked my followers what topics you wanted me to cover. Turns out a bunch of people were asking how to find a relationship. And mostly it was women asking, even though finding a relationship isn't exactly science. For the rich, it's economics. For the poor, it's basically fate. But I'll reluctantly break it down for you anyway. How to scientifically find a relationship. Let me start with a little story of my own. When I first started college, there was a freshman dance in Tsinghua's engineering program. There were barely any girls to begin with. If you didn't move fast, they'd all be taken. Even though I looked like this back then, I had thick skin and was the first in my class to get a dance partner. Then, on the day of the dance, we discovered something incredible. The prettiest girl in our class was actually alone. Even she felt awkward. If I'd known, I would have asked her back then. Our kid would probably be in elementary school by now. Later, we found out what really happened that year. If I'd asked the prettiest girl and got rejected, wouldn't that be totally embarrassing? The whole class would have made fun of me for 4 years. The most popular guy would definitely go for the prettiest girl. They're a perfect match. Why would I humiliate myself? And so on. Every guy thinks the shame of rejection outweighs the joy of dating the prettiest girl in class. So everyone plays it safe. So if no one's asking you out, maybe it's just because you're too good. Everyone's afraid you'll turn them down. Everyone makes the safest choice after weighing their options. So everyone ended up in the prisoner's dilemma of Nash equilibrium. This clearly isn't the optimal outcome. Maybe the prettiest girl in class actually had a crush on me back then. What are you laughing at?
我想起高兴的事情。
From a game theory perspective, this kind of awkward situation happens because people keep info private and decide alone. As long as you actively express your interests, break down the information barriers, the Nash equilibrium will be broken. Some social apps have a similar feature. You can swipe right if you're interested. If the other person is also interested, and you'll be matched. This avoids the awkwardness of getting rejected. So for example, if you like someone, you assuming I'm a human, what I gotta do to get it through to you, I'm superhuman, innovative, and I made a rubber so that anything you say. Just go ahead and say it. You'll meet many guys in your lifetime. Is there a scientific strategy to find the best one? Note, we're approaching this from an academic research perspective, without considering the moral issues involved in dating. We think by analogy. Say you go to a public restroom and want to find the best toilet. No traces from previous users, the right temperature, fresh toilet paper. What would you do? Usually you'd open the doors one by one and take a look. Once you find one that seems good enough, you'll settle for it. Choosing guys is kind of like choosing a restroom stall. When girls face suitors, they always hope to find the best one. Guy, you'd usually try them one by one. Stop when you find someone you're pretty happy with, then get together, even though someone better might come along later. In mathematics, this type of problem is called the optimal stopping problem. Do we have any strategy for this? Say, a woman meets 3 men. If she closes her eyes and picks randomly, she has a 1 in 3 chance of choosing the best guy. But actually, she has another option. Start by dating the first guy. Break up with him no matter what. Then check out the second guy. If he's better than the first guy, make it official. If he's not as good as the first guy, break up and get together with the third guy. This strategy seems like playing games. But let's run through all the scenarios. 3 guys can be arranged in 6 different orders. Using this strategy, there's a 50% chance of picking the best guy. There's a 1 in 3 chance of picking the second best guy. Only a 1 in 6 chance of picking the worst one. See? This strategy beats choosing blindly by a long shot. So as Lu Xun once said, as they say, your first relationship is basically training for the real one. Seasoned daters usually go through a few casual relationships first to get a sense of what's out there before making their move. So what's the optimal number of people to observe? Let's say there are n candidates total. First, observe the first k people, but pass on all of them, starting from the k plus 1 person. Once you meet someone better than all the previous ones, settle down with them. Let's figure out what value of k gives us the best chance of ending up with the best person. We all learned conditional probability and Riemann sums back in elementary school, right? If the probability of choosing the best guy is p, then you add them up, combine them, and turn it into an integral. To maximize p, take the derivative and set it equal to 0. It's easy to see that. The optimal solution is when kn equals 1, approximately 37%. In other words, if you have n guys to choose from, the best strategy is to observe the first 37% of guys, but don't commit to any of them. After the 37% mark, as soon as you meet a guy better than all the previous ones, go for it. This is the famous for 10-7 rule. Assuming you meet the same number of guys every year, if the decision period for finding a partner is from age 15 to 35, then before 22.4 years old is the observation period. After that, marry the next better one you meet. Let's write a program to simulate this. First, generate a girl. Randomly assign her 100 different guys. Simulate 1,000,000 times using the Monte Carlo method. The result is very amazing. She has a 37% chance of choosing the best guy, 15% chance of choosing the second best, 2% chance of choosing the third best. Some of you might say, I won't even meet 100 people who'd be interested in me. That's okay. I also calculated the probability when facing anywhere from 0 to 20 guys. If you randomly pick blindly, your chance of choosing the best guy drops significantly. At that point, you're basically leaving it to fate. Settle for a mediocre life together. But as long as you apply the 37% rule, your probability of choosing the best guy will always be higher than 37%. In heaven, we'll be lovebirds flying together. On earth, we'll share BBQ together. But in this interval, the two lines overlap. In other words, if only 1 or 2 people in the world like you, then there's no point in bothering with any strategy. Just pick randomly. Some viewers might say, your calculation isn't scientific. This is way too idealized. In real life, they're not just going to let me pick whoever I want. They might reject me when I make a move. No problem. We revised the model again, considering the probability of being rejected is p. Then the proportion of guys to skip and the probability of choosing the best guy should be u and p to the power of 1. We found that if you have a 50% chance of being rejected, you should adjust the 37% rule to the 25% rule, meaning you make your move after observing the first 25%, the worse you are, and the higher your rejection rate. The shorter your observation period should be, make your move sooner. So, my mom taught me from a young age, if you're not particularly attractive, you should probably spend forever alone. Today, I'm sharing a scientific strategy to find your match. If you still can't find someone, then that's on you. The 37% rule applies to all aspects of life. But even the mathematician's rigor-proven optimal strategy only gives you a 37% chance of finding the best guy. Seems like it's optimal. Is it looking so great after all? Say this, things. If we could try everyone out there, we could easily compare and find the best one. But you can't. There's no going back in love. The key to the 37% rule is that time and love only move in one direction once you've been with someone. You can't go back, no matter how good they were. Once you make a decision in the moment, even if someone better comes along later, you won't be swayed. No strategy can guarantee you'll find the absolute best. But the person beside you right now may already be the best choice for you. So cherish them. Tell them you love them. Alright, thanks everyone for watching this video. If you found it interesting, please like, comment, and subscribe to support us. I heard that everyone who likes the video finds love and happiness soon. See you next time.